It is January, which means everyone's feeling inspired to keep their podcast going, launch their podcast, be the next big podcaster. And I absolutely love this because as a podcast producer, this is like one of my favorite times of year of hearing these topics that people have been thinking of but haven't launched, that they're finally going to make happen. It makes me so happy. And one thing that I can tell you from being in this space for the last 7 years is this energy lasts until a certain point, and then eventually it'll fade for a lot of people. People will launch their podcast and then stop it after a few episodes. People will talk about launching their podcast and then they won't do it. But I want you to actually make it happen. And this episode is going to be all about that because, like I said, seeing this firsthand, the podcasts that actually last and become successful and have fans and have an audience are the ones that stay consistent. That's just the truth. If you are putting out an episode here and there, there's no consistency, your podcast is not going to be as successful as you're hoping it to be. Okay? That's just the truth. I know the truth sometimes hurts, but that's the truth. What is consistency? Consistency can have a lot of different definitions, but there's truly one meaning behind it. Consistency can have a lot of different definitions, but let me tell you what consistency is not. Consistency is not grinding every day. Consistency is not putting out one podcast episode every single day. Consistency is making small, repeatable promises that you can actually keep. And this is something I talk to my clients about before they start their podcasts. I actually just got off the call with someone who's launching in February, and she said, "Does it have to be a weekly show?" Absolutely not. If you're already coming to me telling me that you don't want a weekly show or that sounds like crazy, you don't have to do that. And I actually would encourage you not to do that. I would encourage you to start with a monthly show, a bi-weekly show, and then scale up to weekly because that's consistency. I know someone who's had a podcast for the last 13 years, putting out one episode a month. He was actually on this podcast, Gordon Firemark. You can go listen to his episode. He has been doing it for, I think, more than 13 years. One episode a month. And he is ranking, he's well known, he's built a name for himself because he has consistency, okay? That's what consistency is. It's not pushing yourself to put out one episode every single week. It's really putting out what you can that you feel good about and what's sustainable to you. For all of my clients, well, they have to be consistent to work with me. That's the thing. So we have to decide, are you going to do a monthly show? Okay, I need to know what to expect from you from a recording standpoint. Are you going to do a bi-weekly show? Amazing. Are you going to do a month or a weekly show? Great. Right? Like, I have to set my schedule for me and my team, so they have to commit to something. But if you're not working with me or a podcast producer, do the same thing for yourself because you're going to need to block off time in the new year to edit, record, promote, all those things. So actually block off time to do these things on a consistent basis. Podcasting compounds. That's the thing about podcasting is the episodes that you're going to put out today, amazing. The one you're going to put out next week, great. The one you're going to put out the week after that, you're just going to get better and better. And the more content you have out there, the more content you have for your audience to listen to. The more excited that they'll be to go and listen to your podcast. And the more it'll be picked up and the more it will be talked about and the more people will know and more and more and more. It's compounding. Now, let's say you just skip a week. Okay, it doesn't matter. Truly, okay? It doesn't matter that week. But then the next week, you might put one out, and then you're like, oh, I'm just going to skip next week. And then you skip, and you skip. And then it just becomes such a drag mentally that it's just not working in your best favor, okay? So that's the thing, is you need to be consistent because consistency creates more consistency. Skipping a week doesn't matter that week, but it matters when you keep skipping and skipping and skipping. The truth is, and here's a stat, most podcasts stop after just 10 episodes because they overcommit, they get really excited, they don't think about long term, and then they're 10 weeks in and they're like, I'm not getting the lessons I want, I'm not getting the downloads. This is too much work. I'm stopping. Okay, that's what happens, but I don't want that to happen to you, which is why the first episode of the year is consistency. Now, I have a little challenge for you. For the podcasters out there, the ones that are listening, I'm going to do this alongside you because, to be honest, I skipped some weeks last year. Okay? I'm just going to come clean. My podcast episodes, I do 2 a week here on Podcast Cafe and 2 a month on Employee to Boss. It's a lot of content, and I'm not proud of it, but I skipped a few weeks. I traveled. I didn't plan ahead. I had too many clients. I had too much blah, blah, blah. Excuses. Okay, this is the year where I'm not making up excuses. I'm actually going to show up alongside you because if my clients can do it, you can do it, and I can do it too. So here's the challenge for 2026. I'm inviting you to a year-long commitment where we're going to check in 4 times, okay? Every single quarter, I'm going to be here on the podcast, recording an episode, asking you to come let me know if you've actually done it. Will I be able to check and see if you have done all your podcast episodes or skipped a week or whatever? No. But consistency is building trust within yourself and is building trust within myself, which is why we're doing this. It's not about doing more. That's not what this challenge is about. It's about doing what actually matters. Because I'm telling you right now, if you put out an episode consistently for the rest of the year, your podcast is going to grow. There's no way around it. Your podcast is going to grow if you put out 1 a week, 2 a month, 1 a month consistently. And on top of that, you're consistently promoting, your podcast is going to grow. So here's what I want you to do every time you put out a podcast episode, and it's what I'm going to be doing as well. Okay, a podcast episode goes live on a consistent basis. For me here on Podcast Cafe, that means 2 times a week, 8 a month. On Employee to Boss, 2 times a month. What I'm going to do after that is I'm going to take that podcast episode and promote it. Okay, there's been weeks where I haven't promoted my podcast episodes, and that is so stupid. I'm going to put it on my Instagram story, put it on LinkedIn, and post a reel on Instagram. Okay, that's what's going to happen. I promise. Okay, so pick what's going to sound good to you. Is it posting a podcast episode every week and posting it on your Instagram story or Facebook or TikTok or LinkedIn? Pick one place that you're going to promote your podcast after it goes live, and that is what you're going to do for the whole year. This should feel uncomfortable, whatever you pick. This should feel a little nerve-wracking, but it should feel sustainable. So I know I can do what I just told you I'm going to do. Why I didn't do it last year? Different obligations. But this year, it's actually a big priority for me to stay consistent with the podcast, social media, promotion, all of those things. So that's why I created this challenge. Now, if you're thinking a year sounds crazy, I can't commit to this for a year, I have commitment problems, that's totally okay. Commit to 3 months, okay, 90 days of doing this. So that could be, if you're doing 1 podcast episode a month, that's 3 episodes. If you're doing 2 a month, that's 6 episodes. If you're doing 4 episodes a month, that's 12 episodes. Okay, you can do 12 episodes easy. What you can expect in March for our check-in then is alignment. Does this commitment still feel right, or should we change things up? Again, you can always change, but just commit to this for 3 months. So at the end of 3 months, we're going to check in. Is this sustainable? Is it aligned with my bigger business goals? Does it still fit my business, my life, the season I'm in? That's what we're going to be checking on in March. At the end of Q2, we're going to be talking about systems. What's working and what can we streamline? What can be simplified? Where can we ask for help? What can we do to make this easier? That's going to be really important. So that's 2. Number 3, this is when it's going to start to get hard because summer and holidays and who knows what's going to come up. Busy seasons in work. We're going to be talking about discipline. That's what we're going to be checking in on. So what's a time where you showed up where you necessarily were not that excited to show up, but still did it anyway. And reconnecting with why you're showing up in the first place. I think that's such a big part of this. And number 4 is identity and results. So this is going to be next December, okay, the end of the year. What came from staying consistent? Because like I said, there's no way you can stay consistent and not grow. So you're going to have a lot to celebrate in a year time. I'm going to leave you with this because this is my Espresso Shot episode, super quick, short, straight to the point. I want to leave you with this to think about. Why are you a podcaster and why are you talking about the topic that you talk about? If your answer is, I don't know, or whatever, or if you're not launched yet, again, why do you want to be a podcaster and why do you talk about the topic you talk about? Think about it, journal about it, reflect on it. You need to have an actual answer because when things get tough, when you want to take a week off or you're going on a 2-week vacation and you just don't know if you want to put out any episodes or things happen, reconnecting to this why is going to keep you going. So actually think about it. Actually come up with something. My why for Podcast Cafe is because I want to help you guys show up as the best podcasters you can be, give you the best resources, and then also selfishly, I love networking with all of the guests, and I love having a platform for them to come on and talk about their shows and connect with me. It's building my community and giving me so many more connections. And on a week that I don't want to put out an episode, that's what I'm going to think about. Is why would someone want to come be on an inconsistent podcast? Or why would someone want to be my client when I'm not showing up to the best of my ability, right? That is my why, and I feel really good about it. That inspires me to keep going. So figure out what yours is. Consistency is truly a leadership skill, and if you want to be seen as the go-to person in your space, this is the number one thing you can do in 2026. Okay? I'll catch you every single Wednesday and Thursday here for the rest of the year with a solo episode on Wednesdays and a guest episode on Thursdays. Thank you so much for joining me in the Podcast Cafe. I hope you're leaving with fresh ideas and inspiration to take your podcast to the next level. Remember, podcasting is a journey and you don't have to do it alone. I'm here to help you every step of the way. Let's connect. Be sure you follow me on Instagram at Espresso Podcast Production or visit espressopodcastproduction.com for more tips, resources, and behind-the-scenes insights. I'd love to hear about your podcasting journey. If you've enjoyed today's episode, make sure you hit subscribe so you never miss an episode. And if you're feeling extra generous, I'd love it if you could leave me a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. It helps more podcasters just like you find the show. Until next time, grab your coffee, keep creating, and I'll see you back here in the Podcast Cafe.